Welcome to Gray Matter's presentation, U.S. State Flag Mnemonics. This particular presentation is part of a series which together teach methods to remember the flags of all 50 U.S. states, plus Washington, D.C. I've tried to create mnemonics that use as little detail as possible from each flag to help you identify them quickly. On many state flags, the name of the state is included. In these cases, I'll hide the name of the state until I finish describing the mnemonic. In this video, we're going to focus on state flags with similar appearances. While they may be often confused by others, hopefully the mnemonics you learn here will help clear up the confusion. These two states, Florida and Alabama, are very close geographically. They're not only close geographically, they're very close in flag design. To help you remember their flags, we're going to flip over Florida and Alabama, lay them on themselves, and what we get is a big red X. This will help you remember that both Florida and Alabama have states featuring a big red X. The question becomes, which is which? We'll note that one has a state seal, while the other doesn't. To help you remember which is which, ask yourself, where are you more likely to see an actual seal? Well, due to its longer coastline and the fact that it has a sea world, you're more likely to find an actual seal in the state of Florida. So when it has the seal on the X, it's Florida. When it has no seal on the X, it's Alabama. This one isn't really an X state, so the X doesn't cover the whole flag, it just covers it up in the corner. This lets you know it's near the X states. This is Mississippi, right next to Alabama. It also has a very similar shape to Alabama, so you can think of it that way as well. Now notice blue, white, and red. Three different color stripes here. Our next flag, very similar to this, except that it's red and red with a big gorge of white. I want you to think of that as two plateaus, the red parts, and a gorge of white. So you see that white, you think, ah, that's a gorge, that's Georgia. Another mnemonic, if you get a closer look, there's a little colonial man dressed as if he were from the time of George Washington. But he's not actually George Washington, he's more of a generic George. So between the gorge and the George, you should never forget that this flag is Georgia. Here's one that looks kind of like the others, but only with two stripes. N and C should tell you right away, this is North Carolina. Now, if we flip the North Carolina flag upside down, it's going to look a little like our next flag. But notice there's no dates and no initials in the blue field. All there is a lone star. If you know what the Lone Star State is, you'll recognize this flag instantly. This is Texas. Now, this flag looks almost exactly, except for the eagle and banner design in the middle, like the French flag. This sort of harkens back to the Revolutionary War when the French fleet helped George Washington defeat Cornwallis and thus win the Revolutionary War. If we go back to the flag, you also notice the banner says, "Our liberties we prize and our rights we will maintain." There's so much about this flag that honors the debt by those who fought and died for the U.S. So this flag is almost saying, I owe you. Perfect. It'll help you remember Iowa. If we rotate this flag a little bit and stretch it out, it looks like this state's flag. Well, let's see, kind of a long sideways French flag, but with a peephole in the middle. The peephole is perfect for the Show Me state. If that's not enough of a clue, there's two bears in here mauling a knight, or at least a knight's helmet. That poor knight, he must be suffering terribly. He must be in misery. The Show Me state, Missouri, this is the flag for Missouri. That's all the U.S. state flag mnemonics for this video. Please check the rest of the series.